Out of all the levels from hell that I've played for this month, Quickman's stage in Mega Man 2 is the one I hated the least. To be honest, I was on the fence about this review and I almost decided not to do it because I didn't think the level was really that bad, especially when you compare it to the other levels I'm reviewing this month. But finally I did decide to review it because as a kid this fucking level drove me nuts. I lost count how many times I tried and failed it. As an adult now, I don't think it's too bad. But as a kid, oh god! Think of this review as coming from someone who's younger and less experienced and a lot less patient. Okay, maybe a little less patient than I am now. So anyway, let's get into it. Levels from Hell, Mega Man 2 for the NES, Quickman stage. Let's say hypothetically that you're a kid back in 1989. You get this game for your birthday or Christmas, or you rent it, or you borrow it from a friend, whatever. And you're going in cold, you've never played the game before, you don't have a subscription to Nintendo Power, you don't have any information whatsoever. And then you get to Quickman's level and you start playing it and you think, okay, this ain't so bad. You just avoid enemies and go down screens. It's typical Mega Man gameplay. Then you get to the first area with the force beam and it traps you and you jump up and bam, you're dead instantly. And as a kid you're like, what the fuck? That's not fair. How the hell could I know that was going to kill me instantly? So back up to the top you go and you go back down and this time you're ready for it. And this time you successfully avoid it and you think, yay, I got past it. And then you get down to the next level and you dawdle for a second and bam, you're killed again. By now I imagine you're starting to get more than a wee bit pissed. But you press on and you manage to get past the second set of force beams and you get to the next screen and bam, you're killed again. At that point I imagine there was a lot of kids who got so pissed off that they were ready to throw the controller at the TV. And here we come to the big problem with the level. You don't know what you're going to get from screen to screen and there's virtually no margin for error. Now on one hand, I can understand how this might frustrate a lot of gamers, because the game drops you into these areas where you have maybe a split second at most to react, and if you fail to do so, you die in one hit. So then you have to go back to the beginning or a checkpoint in the level and do it all over again. And this gives you no time to get the lay of the land or to understand where the force beams are and avoid them. So unless you are a god of gaming, chances are you're going to get killed a lot and have to repeat the same areas several times. And as you can well imagine, this gets very tedious very quickly. But on the other hand, isn't that true of a lot of NES games? You screw up in a certain area, then you have to go back and go through it over and over again until you get it right? And let's be honest, a lot of gamers today are coddled like little babies. Not only do they have passwords and save states and continues, they also have games like New Super Mario Bros. That'll actually beat difficult parts for you. But back in the day, you didn't have things like that. No, you had to tough it out and get through it yourself. Also, the game does give you help in certain ways. For one thing, there's infinite continues. So it's not like the game is only giving you 3 lives and then forcing you to start the whole damn thing all over again. For another thing, there's a password system, so if you're having that much trouble with the level, you can always skip past it for the time being. And for a third thing, there's Flashman's Time Stopper. If you have his weapon equipped, you can stop the force beams temporarily and get through the level much more easily. But you still can't dilly-dally, because if the weapon runs out of energy, the force beams will reactivate and kill you. Further, there's a trade-off. If you use the Time Stopper to halt the beams and you don't re-energize it, you won't have it to use against Quickman. And this weapon is very effective because it can cut down half of his energy before the battle even really gets going. Even without the Time Stopper though, Quickman is not that difficult. Once you have his pattern down, he's pretty easy to beat. By far, the biggest challenge in this level has got to be the second area of Force Beams, or as I like to call it, Force Beam Alley. After you get through the first section of Force Beams, you go through this small area with flame-hurling robots. And this part is really easy. You just take out the robots, the room goes dark, you keep heading right until finally you get to the end of the area. However, once you drop into this next area, the shit really hits the fan. You have got to successfully navigate a whopping 7 screens full of force beams, and if you screw up at any time, you have to go all the way back to the top and start again. Here you only have 2 options. 1, use Flashman's Time Stopper, or 2, just keep fucking up until you get it right. And if you choose the latter, believe me, you'll be fucking up a lot. Having said that, once you know the basic layout of the level, it becomes a lot easier to navigate it. You just have to know where to direct Mega Man's fall. If you fall in the wrong area, you're gonna get killed. And once again, you can't dawdle. Well, no shit, Sherlock, why the fuck do you think they call it Quickman's level? When you get to the bottom of the level, you're treated to one more little surprise. These guys in walkers, who can be a real big pain in the ass if you're not ready for them. But if you shoot the guys enough, it'll destroy their walkers and you can avoid taking severe damage. Unfortunately, they have a nasty habit of respawning, so it's best not to backtrack in this part. Once you get past them, you can face Quickman. If I had one big complaint about this level, it would be the one-hit kills. Certainly this isn't the first one-hit kill trap in Mega Man history. The spikes in the bottomless pits come immediately to mind. But in those two cases, you could usually avoid them. In Quickman stage, though, you have almost no time to react. It might have worked better if the beams only took half your life instead of all of it, at least in the first part of the level. Then the beams get more powerful as you progress until finally they do take away all of your life in one hit. Or there could just be a hell of a lot more of them, forcing you to navigate that much more carefully. Still, it could be a lot worse. Like, what if the force beams appeared on the very first screen and killed you? Or what if you had to fall through 20 screens worth of force beams non-stop? Oh, and let's also give you 3 lives with no continues and no checkpoints. Now that would be a level from hell. So in conclusion, yes, this level is a pain in the ass, but it's not as bad as some people make it out to be. With enough practice and skill, you shouldn't have too much trouble beating it. Unless you're the irate gamer or that kid who did that racist Mega Man 9 video, in which case all bets are off. This is Film and Stuff signing off. Thanks for watching. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Why the fuck do you think they call it Quickman's level?